In this video, we show you what happens when an RC car goes into water and gets wet, what damage it causes, and how to fix it. Slash rebuild time. So here we have my Traxxas Slash 4x4, and last time I took it out, it went underwater. Oh no. Oh no! I was sinking. I was going. Oh, no. It's gone.
No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's recovered.
Oh, my willy!
And now all the bearings have seized up. And it's long overdue a rebuild. So you can see here, look, the screws are rusted up. I'm not too bothered about that. But we do need to free it up. So I'm not going to do a full rebuild. You know, like the shocks are still fine, so I'm not going to bother rebuilding them. The drive shafts are fine. And just check out this awesome looking body that my buddy Alan painted up for me. I mean, he said he wants me to take it out and beat on it. But I mean, it just looks too nice. I don't really want to ruin it, but what do you reckon, guys? Should we take it out, or should we keep it as a shelf queen? Anywho, less waffle, more wrenching. Oh, that bearing is rough. When you guys say, why do I not take RC cars in the water much? It's because of this, it just kills all the bearings. When manufacturers say that a car is waterproof, it kind of actually isn't. I mean, you can take it in water, but then afterwards, you're going to have to give it this full rebuild treatment. Otherwise, all your bearings are going to go. The motor's going to get water in it. You're probably still going to get a little bit of seepage going into the receiver box. So, yes, by all means, get it wet, take it in water. But if you care about your RC, you're going to have to go through this procedure, what I'm doing here, every single time you get it wet. I mean, this one here is my only dedicated water RC car. And Pat actually built this one for me, and we just filled all the axles and the transmissions, just jam-packed it full of grease, put extra O-rings in the axles to stop water going in. And this one here is just dedicated just for getting wet and getting underwater. And even with this, with the bearings, we've opened up all the bearings, completely packed them full of grease, put it all back together. So this one here does actually stay relatively good. Subscribe. Oh, and this over here is my primal laminator. I broke it, and at the moment I'm fixing it. I'm waiting for parts, so that video should be up very soon. Be getting it running again. Also got a few upgrades along the way, so that's all going to be for a different video. Guys, these bearings have really rusted themselves in there. I've got this side out here after a lot of struggling. I've still got on this side here, look, we've got this outer race here that is still stuck in there. So I'm going to battle away with this, and then I'll put you back on when it's something a bit more interesting. So to get most of the screws out, I'm going to be using these electric impact drivers. This is the one here that I use. And these are power tool tips here made by Team C, although they don't make them anymore. But if you want to know where you can get them from, I'm going to put a link to some similar ones down below. So people often ask me, how do you get rid of the rust on screws? And the way that I do it, well, normally I'll just leave it. But if I do really want to get rid of it, I get some WD-40, spray a little bit onto some toilet paper or something, and then just give it a little wipe over. And then inside, that will eventually come off just in use, or you could, you know, if you really want to get in there, you could. But, you know, look at that. That is good enough for me. Oh dear, I've just noticed this motor is locked absolutely solid. So I should have really opened it up and replaced the bearings as soon as it went into the water. But me being lazy, it's been sitting around for a few months, so now I've possibly wrecked the whole motor. But we're going to open it up in a bit and have a little look what's inside there. Ooh, that's looking a bit nasty inside there. So rear end wise, this is as far as I'm going to strip it down. I don't really see any need to take the whole thing apart. Of course you could. You could take all these apart and re-oil it and make them all nice and smooth again. But for me, that's going to be good enough. The shocks are nice. Alright, onto the front end. Oh yeah, these bearings are shot. Bearings, bearings, bearings. Oh! So next, let's have a little look to see what's happened to this motor. Oh, that is seized solid. Ooh, rusty. Well, by the looks of it, well, the bearings are completely seized. Oh my god. So, I think if we can replace these bearings, this motor may well be savable. So we're going to get back to that in a bit. For now, I'm going to clean up all these plastics. I'm going to wipe out most of this grease as much as I can by hand. And then we're going to give it a good scrubbing in a bucket of hot, soapy water. So we're going to let all this lot dry overnight. Alright, it's been overnight. I've left it all out to dry. I'm going to put it all together first, and then I'm going to give it all a coating with WD-40. So I've just cleaned up the motor. I'll just basically use some brake clean. I'll give it a little wipe. I've got all brand new bearings for the whole entire car. But I didn't have any bearings for the motor. And the motor bearings, they just fell to bits trying to get them off and completely disintegrated. But they're the same size bearings as the wheel bearings. Trouble is, I haven't got any extra spare sets. So I'm going to use these ones here for the motor, and I managed to clean up these bearings, take them apart. I've cleaned out all the dirt, re-greased them, and I've managed to free them up. I'm going to put a link up here to my X-Max rebuild video, where I'll show you how you can sort of revitalise bearings. They're not perfect, but they're going to have to do for now. Also, these are rubber shielded bearings, and I'm not really sure, well, I'm actually pretty sure that you're not really supposed to use them on a motor. I'm guessing because they spin around so fast, it's just going to melt that shielding. But that's all I got for now. So I'm just going to put a little bit of duct tape over that bearing here, just to hopefully help get any more sort of water in there in the future. We got this cover here, but I don't think it's really that waterproof. Alright, it's all back together again. It's moving lovely and freely. And guys, this is only on a 3S LiPo. I can run 6S LiPo on this. This ESC here is rated to 6S LiPo. People keep telling me you cannot run 6S through this motor. But I've done it before and it's been alright. So if you're going to do the same, do it at your own risk. Anyway, I've got quite a lot of upgrades on this car, and I'm not going to bother going through it all now because I made a whole video on it. So I'm going to put a link to that video up here. So if you want to see what batteries I run, what upgrades, where to get all the parts from, that's where you'll find all that out. So if you're planning on taking your RC car out into the wet, then this is what you're going to have to do to it after every single run if you care about your RC car. Otherwise, it's all just going to lock up like this one did. A lot of those bearings, I probably could have saved them. The only reason I kind of left it is because the bearings were kind of old anyway. It was well overdue a rebuild. So I just kind of, well, I procrastinated. Of course, you could rebuild it a lot nicer. You could take it down completely, every single part, and clean every single part up perfectly. You could clean up every single screw and everything. So I'm going to take this car out very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe and have the bell smash so that you stay notified.